That's awesome because I want to go full time eventually. That's the goal. And like you, I'm looking outside of weddings, like commercial shoots. Thinking about getting back into real estate video. You know, looking to actually like broaden my horizons a bit to where I'm not stuck in one realm because as we saw like back when the pandemic hit, like a lot of wedding photographers and videographers was hurting, like because on their whole wedding season got canceled or postponed. So um I'm like you, like sorry, like I said, I'm like you. So I'm actually trying to branch out, learn new things. I had my first commercial shoot yesterday. I have another one tomorrow. Like that's a whole different experience for me to
That's
where
awesome.
thank you. And to where weddings may be like, they're fast paced. They're go, go, go. Sometimes you work with some insane timelines. But then yesterday on the commercial shoot, we set up lights, we set up the cameras in position, we hit record and we was good to go. I mean, that was pretty much it. So, you know, it
Exactly.
just it's just different having that change of pace. And one thing you mentioned that I would like for you to touch on a little bit was film school. So, like you said, you're using pretty much zero from what you learned from film school in your wedding business. Can you tell us like the different mindsets that goes into that? Like, how did you have to like unlearn what you learned to learn your new skills now?
Um, so I would say I guess I did take one thing away from film school. I had specifically in the film department, I went to Western Michigan University. They had one professor that was actually like a filmmaker. Um, Everybody else I felt just kind of specialized in topics. They didn't actually do anything in the field. They were just teachers that specialized in these topics. So we actually had one teacher who was she was like she did film, she would enter films into film contests, all that sort of thing. And so I felt like I learned a lot from her, and I had probably 3 classes with her, because she went over I use Premiere Pro for editing, and she that's pretty much what she used, and she went through and taught us how to use Premiere Pro. I mean, there's no way to teach somebody Premiere Pro in a semester, like, there's just no way. I'm still learning Premiere Pro, but just getting the basics of that from her was probably the most helpful thing that I learned. So I thought, "Okay, if I can at least know the basics of this, like, fancy editing program, I can take it home with me, and then I can apply my own film work and my own videos and things that I'm shooting with, and I can learn that way." Um, and I just felt like pretty much everything else was, uh kind of like an experiment. Like, I would go to weddings and I would, be like, "Okay, I'm gonna try to shoot like this today, and, if I don't like it, I can switch it, but, like, I'm gonna try and do this and see what it looks like when I edit it later." And I would just kinda mess with things and tweak things as I went, and, I did a lot of research on YouTube, for as far as, like, microphones and stuff like that because they offer an audio class at Western, but I never got to take it because it was always full. So that was one of the things that I never got any experience on was anything with audio. I still struggle with audio to this day. That's probably my weakest point when it comes to videography. Um, so I've constantly been, like, researching, what types of mics I should be using and then how to take that audio and use it in Lightroom and, or in Premiere Pro, I mean. And so it's kind of just, experimenting a lot of the time. And it's challenging because if you're, um, thinking, "Oh, this is how you do it," because, you watched one video, but then you take it and you're editing it and you're like, "Well, this sounds like crap still," or "This looks like crap." You're like, "What did I do wrong?" And it's hard because the thing is that in the film world, everybody does stuff differently. So it's like when you're taking these things from other people and you're trying them for yourselves, it might not work. It might not be what you want. And so that's a big thing of it too. It's actually really challenging because you can be really frustrated with yourself at the end of the day, at the end of a wedding day and be like, "Wow, I just filmed like this all day and I'm putting it into here and I don't even like it." So, it's just kind of a lot of experimenting in that realm, and that's just kind of how I learned a lot of things, and now I kind of have a system that works for me, but at the same time, I'm still learning. I'm still adjusting, and sometimes there's things that I completely just blank on at a wedding, and I'm like, "Oh, wow, I didn't even do that today."
No, same here. And like you said, you can't teach somebody editing program in one semester. Like I've been using DaVinci Resolve for like 45 years now. 4 to 5, not 45. And like, I'm still learning it. I use it for color grading mostly, and I'm still learning it. And I like how you said that in the filmmaking world, everybody do things differently. Like, I'm learning from two colorists. Like I learned from Kazi. That's my first colorist. Went through his whole course, learned a lot, and now I'm learning for Sidney Baker Green to really try to learn about color theory and just to get a different approach on how to do things to where I can actually mold it into my own. And then I also like how you mentioned about audio, because audio is important. I'm still learning audio. The wedding that I just shot this past weekend, luckily I had a backup on the mics because the feed that I got from the DJ just didn't work. For
I've
some
had that
reason.
happen so many times, and it's so
Yes,
frustrating.
it is because it's not our fault. I mean,
Yes,
it's not our fault that the feed is bad coming from the DJ. Like we can't help that. So I'm happy that I had like the Rode recorders on the mic as well, and I'm gonna use that audio for it. But like you said, sometimes you don't think about it. Sometimes you get busy. Sometimes the day just insane. Like we almost forgot to do the first reveals. I mean, it was like this past wedding. Like the timeline itself was just insane. And just the venue, they just had us go, 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 go. There was barely any time to set up. I was gonna switch my handheld rig to a monopod for coming down the aisle, but I didn't have enough time, so I literally had to grab that, run down the aisle, and actually start shooting everybody coming down. I mean, wedding day should just be insane. And then, like you said, it's a lot of trial and error. Like I'm trying to do a little bit more handheld. Really work on my angles. Maybe do a little bit of a Roger Deakins type style with weddings, but it's all just touch and go. You got to try it. You gotta try, fail, and adjust. That's pretty much it.
exactly, and once you kinda get your style and you get an idea of what you really like, then it kinda starts to fall into place because then you get into, like, a pattern. But, yeah, when the day is just so crazy, it's so hard to adjust to their schedule and make sure